Hello, everyone. It's me, Thempirean, the never late streamer. Never ever late. Never ever. You're on time? No, we're all late. We're all late. Well, thank y'all for joining me today on this very late stream. I got a little distracted this morning. We're gonna be doing some Yu-Gi-Oh! Tuesday. We're gonna be watching Pegasus and his Toon World go up against Kaiba. We're also gonna be watching the Mai and Yugi duel. That's gonna be 5 episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then after that, I've got a YouTube video that is learning Foucault through trading cards. Isn't that exciting? I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. Let's get to some Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's get it. Let's get it on. Is a fucking... Hold up. Can I get that subtitle back?
Yugi.
This line... I did not know this line existed. This line is like a fucking saddled with unnecessary feelings ass type line. What the hell? Wait. If Pegasus is playing chapters from his library into his book, he's in 2 episodes. We should really do an ad break. We'll be right back after an ad break. See you guys in a second. We've never been more off model than this. Holy fuck, look at that. Drawing is hard, yeah. And you know, they do spend a lot of time on these backgrounds, I will say. Oh, so Ferret Lord, that's why you put it in the Millennium Eye, because the Millennium Eye is too big to swallow like that. That you gotta put it in the Millennium Eye, or else it's like the, you know how the Kinder eggs have like the the little capsule that has like the breathing holes. I loved how half of the people who came here and got into the championship talking about donuts. He's just like talking about donuts. It's funny that he talks about donuts in the dub, but it's crazy how they like. That's Serenity's Japanese name. It's crazy how much emotion they remove from the show for comedy. Wait, why is Bakura in on this? Because Bakura knows that he actually has mind reading powers. Hypno Dark. There's Yugi. All right, we're going to take a quick little ad break again, and we'll be right back with the last episode for today, the finale of the Yugi My Duel. See you in a sec. Bye-bye.
Buried within the uncharted depths of waters surrounding a group of islands off the 50th parallel lies man's most formidable challenge. The awesome awakening of prehistoric monsters long thought extinct. Giant against giant. The ultimate battle. Godzilla versus Megalon. Science was baffled and powerless. A terror-stricken humanity knew that it was on the brink of total destruction. A once proud civilization now had to place its trust and hope in Godzilla. Now came the moment of truth. The ultimate battle. Giant against giant in a duel to the death. You'll see it all in Godzilla versus Megalon.
All right, welcome back. Let's do the last episode for today. Oh. Very strange. I don't know who's going to be browsing Patreon like that. Many such... Hold up. Give me that. Should be that shot again. Many such cases. And that's where we get soul charge. Yeah. All right. You were a bad guy. I was not a bad guy. You know, like, I have no memories. What are we doing? It's so crazy. It's just like, what is the point of the Waking the Dragon arc other than to fill time between arcs? Like, what is learned? Why does Mai undergo character assassination? What are the goals of the bad guys? I don't know, dog. I love the one that's like, I hate Kaiba. I must destroy Kaiba because of Kaiba Corporation. Kaiba already destroyed Kaiba Corporation. What are you talking about? It's like not the thing it once was at all. I don't know. Very strange. Very strange arc. All right. Let's go over to the internet. As usual, our regular reminder for Batchu's Library. No, we're going to watch season 4. We're going to watch that shit and see, because I want to see if it's like better or worse in the subtitled version, like in the original. It's probably about the same, but yeah, here's your usual reminder. Watch this or subscribe to that. We're going to watch Foucault's Order of Things explained with trading cards. I've been looking forward to this like all week. I've been wanting to watch this. So yeah, we're gonna understand. We're gonna learn about Foucault. Can you explain Foucault? Okay, Foucault is a French philosopher, a postmodern, I believe is what he's classified as. A lot of his work involves the way. Oh, there's a. I got to remove that Discord thingy. Reactive PNG. There we go. Bye bye. What the scallop? Right. Foucault. A lot of his work involves like the way systems of powers create the framework of prisons in our daily life to control us. Really, really cool stuff. Also, you know, he's a French gay man during I don't actually know what exact period. It's like, you know, 20th century though. And so like a French gay man during the 20th century, there's a little bit of pedophilia like involved in there a little bit, but you know, still a philosopher of, you know, some import, I would say, despite, you know, some of the weirdness surrounding him.
Every trading card reduces a creature to a set of features. its name, type, attack power, and effect. Without those features, the game couldn't exist. As Kant basically said, in order for us to think about reality, we must structure it into categories. Trading cards are a metaphor. To see reality at all, we have to frame it. Take the Blue Eyes White Dragon card, for example. Observe how the card literally shows itself as an appearance, based on whether or not it's face up or face down. And when the card is face up, you only see the artwork of the blue eyes as a frozen image. You don't see the blue eyes in action, only framed as a card. Different cards with different art styles may reveal to us.
I like that this is explaining Foucault through trading cards, but also if I just showed you a screenshot of this, you would think it was one of those deck profiles from like 2007 where they're just recording on their carpet.
Different facets, different faces of the blue eyes, but there are other aspects of the blue eyes that we don't see. This is what Kant means when we only perceive the phenomenal world and not the noumenal. We only see the appearance, not the essence. And what's interesting is that despite all of the different faces of the blue eyes, each blue eyes is treated as the same in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. In fact, even features of a card are treated as exactly the same. Nietzsche pointed this out in his essay on Truth and Lies in the Non-Moral Sense.
Every time he switches from talking about the cards to talking about the philosopher, it cracks me up a little bit.
When he talks about how concepts flatten the individual differences between things. Quote, "Every concept arises from the equation of unequal things, just as it is certain that one leaf is never totally the same as another, so it is certain that the concept of leaf is formed by arbitrarily discarding these individual differences and by forgetting the distinguishing aspects."
Yeah.
Attack power in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the clearest metaphor of concept arising from unequal things. If you take a bunch of dragons with 3,000 attack points, they may all have the same attack power, but the way they attack is unique. Blue Eyes White Dragon attacks with white lightning, and the Red Dragon Archfiend attacks with a scorching crimson flare. Yet in the Yu-Gi-Oh game, their attacks are essentially treated the same, because they all have the attack power of 3,000 points. And while Kant and Nietzsche give us a glimpse into the
destroy metaphysics with the critique of pure reason, to trace the origins of good and evil with the genealogy of morals. Why is Nietzsche a tribute monster?
Limits of how we come to understand things, Foucault takes this further by showing that these
Foucault's a wind? Lay out the epistemes of the order of
structures
things.
aren't fixed because they change across history.
Also, could you tell this is a French gay man, by the way, with that leather jacket?
In his book, The Order of
And
Things, he divides
turtleneck.
human epistemology into 3 epistemes, or historical paradigms of how we know what we know: the Renaissance, classic, and modern. The Renaissance episteme dealt with resemblance and similarity. This would be like organizing cards according to their element or artworks. In Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, there are 6 attributes a card could fall under: light, dark, fire, water, air, and earth. So all trading cards, regardless of their features, would be grouped together based on the fact that they have a watery or a fiery vibe to them, even with cards
Air,
from other
tourist
card
spot.
games. The classic
That's so
episteme
mean.
dealt with taxonomy and classification. This is where cards are ordered.
I think using I'm just gonna I don't know if this is the case, but I think it could be possible that the air was used to draw a parallel to like medieval understanding of the 4 elements. I think that's what's going on there, but I could be wrong. It could just
not
be
based on vibes
getting it
or
wrong.
energy, but
But
actually
like based on all these books full of collected cards, it's
defined
possible.
features of the card.
Look, there's even
First,
Lucy
the
in
cards
there.
could be organized based on the different trading card games: Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and Pokemon.
Look, there's some Sky Striker. There's like new cards in here.
Then, in the Yu-Gi-Oh category, cards could be organized into monster, spell, trap card, Xyz monster, fusion monster, synchro monster, and then the monsters would be further divided based on either their type, archetype, or card rarity, or
Gotta show
attack
the ghost
power
rare off,
or
I guess.
level, etc. All the dragons would be organized into a category, and all of the dinosaurs would be ordered into a category, and so on and so forth. And finally,
Really think this is a boomer binder until Lemniscate jump scare?
the modern episteme focused on dynamics and processes. This is where categorization starts to become particularly complex and complicated because it's not merely observing clear representations or features of the card, but what the cards actually do in the game. The classical episteme would merely divide cards into archetypes. The Naturia archetype would be grouped together because they are all cute cartoon forest creatures, and the Dark World archetype would be grouped together because they are all malicious fiends with striking purple lightning in the background. But the modern episteme would acknowledge the playstyle and hidden strategy underneath both archetypes. Naturias would be known for their ability to negate and control cards. For example, Naturia Beast can negate spell cards, while Dark Worlds would be known for discarding and drawing cards. For example, Grapha, Dragon Lord of the Underworld, can be special summoned if he's discarded.
Of the Underworld.
Naturally, one begins
Do they do a lot of... Does this person like play a lot with Japanese cards? Is that what's going on here?
to wonder if there's an episteme that's actually better than the others. Foucault would probably refrain from answering this question. In the preface of The Order of Things, he opens with a bizarre classification from Borges, where animals are grouped in a way that seem absurd and hilarious, until you realize they follow a different logic. What feels natural to us is already shaped by a system we don't fully see, but if we don't see it, how do we break out of it? Well, there are times when the organizational system
I would have done a retake on
starts
that.
to break beyond our control. Later in the book, Foucault talks about how monsters are things that expose our categories by not fitting into them. And in trading card games, this happens all the time. Let's say we divide cards by type and put all of the dragons into a pile. Everything seems fine until you run into a card like Power Tool Dragon. It literally has dragon in its name, but in the game, it's defined as a machine type. So now it's grouped with machines and treated like a machine in the actual game, but not treated like a dragon at all, despite being called and appearing like a dragon. Now, all creatures in trading card games are monsters. Pokemon means pocket monsters, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Also means duel monsters. But for Foucault, Power Tool Dragon is an actual monster because it puts strain on the organizational system by exposing the limitation of its ability to categorize.
Can you think of someone in society, like a group of people in society who put strain on the systems that we have by being outside of the normal category
Sometimes
that we
Yu-Gi-Oh!
place people
tries
in?
to patch it up with its own internal structure. Take Light and Darkness Dragon. It's clearly defined as light for its attribute,
Power tool people, true!
but it could easily be typed as a dark attribute monster. But since monster cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Can only have one attribute with its categorizational system, Light and Darkness Dragon has to say in its own text, this card is also treated as dark attribute. But this makes me wonder, why doesn't Power Tool Dragon have a similar attention to detail saying this card is also treated as a dragon type? This makes the rules
Because it turns into a dragon through the course of the show. But whatever.
in Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost random or arbitrary. Even the same creature in the same card game can be treated as two different objects. Take Torterra and Pokemon. Torterra can be defined as either a grass type or a fighting type as two separate cards. But also, not only can one creature be treated differently in the same game, but treated differently in different games.
Chimera Fortress Dragon. The Rare Metal Dragon is a Rhyhorn. Chimera Fortress Dragon is a Steelix. You know what?
Observe what happens when we
Pretty
add
close.
Cold Water Snapper from Magic the Gathering and Naturia Landois from Yu-Gi-Oh! They're essentially like Torterra, giant land turtles that appear to shake the ground when they move.
That's a
Yet,
waterland
look how
turtle.
different they appear in each game. First, their artworks are different. Torterra and Pokemon looks like a cartoon, smooth with simple features, while in Magic, Cold Water Snapper looks realistic and detailed. And in Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's an
Naturia
old-ass
Landois
Torterra,
looks
too. That's like from the
something in
Diamond and
between,
Pearl set.
a realistic cartoon. And then also look at how they are typed. Landois is vaguely defined as a rock type, nothing resembling a turtle or even a mammal or a water creature. It's defined as a rock. And Torterra is clearly a turtle, but not viewed as a turtle at all, only a grass or fighting type. Only in Magic the Gathering Do you see a feature that would actually call this kind of creature a turtle? Another point worth noting is that Torterra is a stage 2 Pokemon. Pokemon emphasizes almost a kind of narrative and process of growth over time. While in Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, you don't really get that at all. Sometimes in Yu-Gi-Oh, monsters do evolve, but it's not emphasized, or a structure of the game that must be played around. And this leads to a deeper question. Who decides these categories in the first place? Whether or not Power Tool Dragon is a dragon or a machine type. Whether or not Torterra can be defined as a grass or fighting type. Why different creatures in general can appear so differently in different frameworks. In the end, after all this organization of cards, I think Foucault is ultimately asking us to question and think deeply about how we organize and structure the world in front of us and the kinds of implications it creates. While it may seem harmless to organize things, what happens when we start attributing value judgments and expectations to our organizations? If we organize cards by attack power, do we start privileging and enforcing higher attack power cards over others? If we organize cards based on type, do we privilege certain types like dragons over other types? We're not merely organizing the world, we're deciding what matters.
Can you imagine that that theory was written by a gay man in like the 70s or something like that? Oh God, I need to look that up. I need to know exactly, because it's bugging me now. It's bugging me now. 20s to 80s. So he's born in the 20s. So yeah, it would have been like, 60s, 70s. Cool. And guess what he died of? Gay man in the 80s? MBT's also here. Oh, cool. Not getting hit by a bus. Nope. Yeah, I'm definitely subscribing. I think that video could have been better in like how it handled this, but I think this is an incredible like video, like just video concept, and I'm looking forward to seeing them refine their craft over time. I think that's what I take away from this. How does one think of this? She should analyze Road to the King. I hope they keep doing these. So yeah, the Foucault that I learned in college was really more about the prison stuff. I didn't learn about the order of things. We didn't read order of things. We read mostly the stuff about prisons. I don't remember what that's like selected writings of Foucault is like the book, I think. But yeah, that was a cool video. I like that. I think there should be more people doing stuff like this. Is there anything else? Or are we good for today? The VOD for that's up, by the way, and then there's a new Kaiju in the Details episode. I guess there's the APS video about removing the side deck. Sure, we could do that. I find the APS videos aren't particularly interesting to react to because I think he's such a reasonable guy, even when he says things I disagree with.
Amplifier, my side channel.
Unlike Farfa, who says very unreasonable things, even when I agree.
Way too much. Happy to have you here. Today, I wanted to talk about the recent discussion around the potential removal of the side deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! This has been a growing sentiment in a lot of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Circles, and to be clear, this isn't actually based on any like announcement or fact. Like we don't have some confirmation that they're getting rid of the side deck or even any rumors. But
I'm surprised nobody's made videos about the.
More and more people talk
or at least
about,
not that I've seen.
I would throw my hat.
I'm surprised nobody's made videos about the not that I've seen about the fucking new duel trial where they're trying out the 5 and 6 hand size to start off the duel. I'm like, it seems like something people would make videos about. It's not exactly my scene necessarily, but
and hear also
weird
what you
that
guys
no
have
one's
to say
talking
about
about
what
it
your
on
experiences
YouTube.
and opinions are. It's kind of what we do here on this channel.
I guess it's
If you
maybe
like
more
that
of a
sort
Twitter
thing, then
topic,
maybe
you know,
subscribe and
something you
thumbs
just
up.
fire off a
Anyway,
quick tweet or Blue Sky
so a little
post
bit of
about.
background. I've been playing competitive Yu-Gi-Oh for the last 15 plus years. I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh just since its inception, and
Maybe
I've
it's something
seen
not worth
the
talking about
way
until we
the
get the
side deck
data
has
from
kind
the
of
duel trial.
changed, grown, evolved over the years. I
Not that
actually
we
think
get
that
the
at its
data.
core, it's still
Konami
pretty
gets the
similar to
data.
what it always has been. This 15
But at least we
card
could, like,
side deck that you
you know,
can use to
see.
switch out cards between like it and your main deck. from
Yeah,
game
it
to
might be what it
game
is. People want to play it first
you
and
know,
see how it
make a
feels.
matchup easier for yourself. You'll side in cards that are useful against your opponent, and you'll side out the cards in your own deck that maybe aren't as useful in a certain matchup. And I think that this is fine. Like on paper, it seems fine. I think that even today, that goal, like I said, hasn't changed very much. But I think what has changed is the impact of the cards that you're using, and probably just also the pace of Yu-Gi-Oh itself. So whereas in the late 2000s, you might be siding in pulling the rug against a Monarch deck to stop a tribute summon monster from.
I gotta say, I feel like siding in pulling the rug against a Monarch deck feels very similar to siding in, like the fucking dimension barrier against a non-link deck. It feels very similar to me in a lot of ways.
Or maybe you'd be siding in a DD Crow
I think
against a zombie deck.
the
Get
history
rid
of the
a card
side
like
deck
Mizuki
has
or
been
Flame Spray
siding in
Zombie
silver
and,
bullets.
interrupt a play. Today, though, it looks a little bit different than that. You might see traces of that, but more often than not, today is about siding in silver bullets, cards intended.
But like you just described silver bullets. You just described silver bullets. How is pulling the rug against a 2000s era Monarch deck not a silver bullet? I guess the main difference is that the gameplay isn't as fast, so the silver bullet only lasts for so long. Like you can recover from it, but it's still a silver bullet. I don't know.
To create complete non-games against your opponent. And this can take a lot of different forms in terms of how it looks, but basically it goes like this. If you lose game 1 and you're going to be going first in game 2, then your goal is to side in cards that will invalidate your opponent's strategy. Why stop one graveyard effect when I could use Dimension Shifter and stop them all? Why?
But like, Dimension Shifter lasts a turn. Technically, it lasts 2 turns, yours and your opponent's, but it's only blanking it for the 1 turn. Pulling the rug stops the tribute summon of a Monarch, which stops them for 1 turn, right? Because in the 2000s era Monarch deck, you get the 1 summon. So it stops them for 1 turn. It's the same thing.
Try to interact with 1-for-1 hand traps against a Malice deck when I could side in Artifact Lancia that just completely stops them from being banished at all and using any of their effects. Right?
For a turn.
That's one way to handle it. Another way is that you could use cards like Mistaken Arrest, for instance, that just totally stops your opponent from adding cards from deck to hand. And the way that you'll use it is you're going first, you set up, you do your combos, you make your board, and then you play.
Like, I've played a lot of these historic formats. I did a little like history of Yu-Gi-Oh with a friend, and the side deck has kind of always felt bad. I don't know if you've actually gone back and played some of these old formats. The side deck has kind of always felt bad to me. Like, you always are putting shit in there that's just fucking annoying to deal with.
Mistaken Arrest, and your opponent has to take their turn and do nothing.
I don't think
A
something
similar
has
card is
fundamentally
great because
changed with the
description,
side
that
deck. I
one
think
comes
people
up
just
a
notice
lot,
it more
where,
now.
It's just like, you can't use graveyard effects, or you can't use, there's like cards like that where they're usually very one-sided. They could also be floodgates, rivalry.
It's this prelapsarian idea of a Yu-Gi-Oh that never actually existed, right? There's always been annoying ass cards that you could side in to just completely hose your opponent.
The Warlords, Goes and Match, those types of cards come up.
How old is Goes and Match?
And also there are even cards that people will use, like just the Solemns. You just set a Solemn card after you do your whole combo, and Solemns are spell speed 3 and they stop your opponent's normal summon, and that's just kind of it, like Solemn Judgment, right? So there's a lot of cards that are just meant to sort of stop your opponent from doing anything. You invalidate them completely and thoroughly.
The Solemns have been on and off the fucking limited list for forever.
You go first, so you side out your Molcharmies or other certain hand traps and stuff like that. And if you go second, then the goal is just the opposite. This is where you are going to use your artifact Lancia. Right, you're going second. You're going to use your artifact Lancia against the Malice player to simply prevent them from, banishing cards. Your Dimension Shifter, but also this is where you're going to side in huge board breakers, things like evenly matched.
I think a side deck can work in a card game, but I think a card game that has silver bullets like this,
I want it all gone.
You just shouldn't have it.
Lightning Storm and just.
If you go back far enough, these cards weren't as impactful because of how many turns duels were. Definitely the last 10 years kind of problems is still a long ass time. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was kind of saying, is that like the only difference between silver bullets now, silver bullets then, is like you had turns to recover from them, but like that still could be the end of the game right there from that silver bullet.
Just nuke the whole back row, right? And so I think what's difficult about the side deck now is that these swingy cards,
it feels like a frog boiling in a pot situation.
So it really does come down to just you're going
more
first,
so than suddenly things are bad. It's like no, things have been getting bad for a while.
Cards, you'll never try to play a game where you have to deal with maybe Dark Ruler No More in your hand when you go first, because you
is that out of character from 3 Shots to Duel fame?
And I think that
that's true.
This kind of gets at my main issue with the side deck, is that you're getting to use strong silver bullets with little of the risk associated with those cards. Like I said, if you
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it out of character.
More in your main deck, then that means at times when you go first, those cards won't really have much use to you. This is sort of the Master Duel dilemma, where you have to kind of side in, or main deck, cards like that, and deal with the consequence that you might have to go first and just have cards that aren't really great for going first.
Like I don't think best of 1 is the option to go with. I just think maybe we should not have the side deck and still have best of 3. I think Pokemon does this. Pokemon TCG, I'm pretty sure does that. It's either that or we get rid of a lot of the cards that create these unfun like silver bullet scenarios, but that's a lot of cards to get rid of. And some of those cards can be fun in other situations. So I don't know. Some of them can't be. You should probably get rid of them anyways. What do you think about the ban 300 card solution? I think you should ban probably 150 of those cards. There's probably at least half of those cards that should be banned anyways. But there's like 150 of them. Like, I don't think the Solemns necessarily need to go. Well, I don't know. I am also building this other format that has like very limited negates, and it's been fun as fuck. So maybe we shouldn't have negates. I don't know.
In your hand anyway, like Molcharmies. But in the TCG, you can always ensure that the Molcharmies aren't in your hand when you go first in games 2 or 3. And same with, a Dark Ruler No More, a Lightning Storm.
It's crazy because they built Genesis. They know what they all are. They do. They know every single one. Well, not all of them apparently, but they know a lot of them.
Kind of fine. You can still side in Ghost Bell against Draco Tail or something, and that's cool. But more often than not, it's about making a non-game, and that just isn't very fun, competitive maybe. I don't know. But there are some arguments against getting rid of the side deck. Some people say, well, okay, maybe we should just be banning the silver bullet cards because
they know what they all are aside from macrocosms, and a couple of those weird like trap and spell cards that can like do a blank for a turn.
good again.
Like
I think that's totally
shared ride and that
like,
kind of
that's a
thing.
serviceable argument.
Did they
but
hit
I don't
share
know if
ride it
Konami
yet?
has
I
any
don't
intention of
remember.
banning all
I don't
those
think
cards, because it'd be
was
a
that the one they hit?
whole laundry list of them. Then again, I guess to be fair,
It's hard to keep
Konami
track of all the
hasn't
Genesis
getting rid of the
points.
side deck anyway. So either way, some other benefits I think of getting rid of the side deck is that it makes deck building itself a more I always hate using the word skillful, but I do think that it makes deck building incur more risk, right? The examples I gave of having to main deck a Dark Ruler No More or a Lightning Storm or a Feather Duster, whether you're going first or second, I think having to main deck it would be cool to see. I think it would be.
It is one issue though. It's funny because he's bringing up this positive, and I'm this up as a positive, and I'm going to bring this up as a negative. This is going to hurt going second. I feel like not having a side deck is going to hurt going second. It's going to help them in some ways because you can't bring in the silver bullets you established turn one and just fuck over the going second player. Maybe the person going second gets to side. Maybe that's it. Only the person going second gets to side. Because then you can't have the board breakers that help you crack. You have to main deck them, and that's like nobody's going to do that. I don't think most people are going to do that. It's going to be only specific decks that do that. Like, I don't think a lot of decks can justify maining board breakers, except in certain formats where like hand traps aren't super impactful. So that is actually a point I didn't think of until he started bringing up this, which is not what he was bringing up, but it made me think of it. That's a tough one. Maybe that would be helped by the draw 6 for the turn 2 player.
You need to sort of ask players to weigh the consequences
of
like using
I
board
agree.
breaker style cards
out of
or
characters.
hand traps, right? Like, would you want to main deck like
trying to abbreviate it to characters?
Charmies, right? Like 3
See how that goes.
3
Maybe out.
All
just call you out.
With the threat that like you might have to go first and draw like 2 or 3 total copies of all these things.
Maybe
it would like lower the amount of those that people would run. I think that a card like Mistaken Arrest and Gravekeeper's Inscription.
But the double
like
O.
Pronounced
ook. Ooh, I like that.
Use those
ook.
Because the risk feels too great, and I feel like that would be a good way to kind of rein in the threat of those cards. I mean, you could still include them in your main deck, but you will
Don't
be
bring
like
this
bearing
evil
the
to
risk
the
because
world.
I just have to like use Mistaken Arrest when you go second, and it's like, oh man, that really kind of sucks. Same with Kaijus and a lot of stuff.
Paul's
like
got a bad beat story about Mistaken Arrest he wants to share so bad here.
What matchups are you most afraid of, and that you are most willing to
don't we all
put in like main deck a potential out or way to deal with them, right? Like if you really hate Lunalights and dealing with Lunalight,
like Mistaken Arrest is the bad beat story, is like the bad beat card, right?
Like if you don't think that you'll see Lunalight much, then maybe you don't, right? So like I don't know. I think that asking players to assess risk and sort of place their bets on what cards will be useful for them or not useful for them in their main deck is something that feels exciting and might even encourage some players to run like 42 or 44 cards, which is something.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Paul. I don't know about that. Look, the math on 41 card decks is almost the same as 40 card decks. So you can run a 41 card deck, but only if your deck really needs it. It's not removing the side deck. I don't think is going to be the difference maker for making 41 card decks the norm.
And Master Duel has sort of normalized a bit more. I've noticed is that you'll see more people running,
Okay, but that's because Master Duel players don't know how to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
42, 44, 45 cards, something like that, just because they need to fit in the hand traps. They need to fit in some type of a board
That's
breaker,
crazy.
Master Duel is best of one. Again, I'm not advocating for best of one.
That's crazy.
I'm still saying it should be best of 3, but I think that it would just be a good idea to kind of force players to take on some risk with deck building and not just be able to use all the
Paul knows what he's talking about. He's not a bad Yu-Gi-Oh player. It's just I disagree with him on some things occasionally. Particularly in regards to old Yu-Gi-Oh.
Another small benefit to this could be just involving time. Like right now, Yu-Gi-Oh's got 50-minute rounds, and it's a bit of a rush. It's very crunchy. If you run out of time in a round, you just both lose. You get a double match loss. Yeah. And while I'm glad that, people have accepted this rule and, kind of just people do it in pretty good faith. I don't really have people slow playing or anything like that. There's no prisoner's dilemma like what people used to fear. I haven't
Yeah.
encountered much of that myself. But
Well, it's because most people want to be decent people. You're only going to encounter a couple of bad actors, but when you encounter a bad actor, it's going to suck.
I do think that side decking can occupy a lot of time in a match. Like it can be as little as maybe 3 minutes, but as much as like 6
Exactly,
minutes.
out of character.
And getting that time back in, you don't side deck, you just sort of shuffle your deck up and start the next game would be really nice. It means more time spent playing.
That is
and
true.
Less time spent just side decking and reshuffling, and then
You know what? Here's my time to say this. I also hate fucking making a side deck. I think making a side deck is the most annoying thing to do in building a deck. And it can actually take a while to actually side. I hate siding too. It's the process of it is so like, it's not fun to me. I don't know. It's just not the fun part of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Actually, I should side this and reshuffling. The best players will have
There's a lot of
side deck
skill in
pattern
it,
mind,
but it's just
it
not
doesn't
fun
change
to
the
me.
fact that your opponent might take longer than you do side decking, and they might not even be intending to slow play. It's just that they're taking longer to decide how to side deck. So I think we could cut down on a lot of that. That's like a small externality, but I think one that is beneficial. So yeah, I want to hear what you guys think about this though. Obviously, again, this isn't actually happening. There's no announcement that the side deck is leaving, so, whatever. But still, if there was to be a side format of some kind, a public event at a YCS or a regional or something, where the side deck wasn't a thing, would you be interested in playing in that? And what do you think would be the deck building ramifications? Would people, be running a lot of going second cards, a lot of only strong going first
so.
type cards? Would it maybe just converge where the extreme
I think it would look a
ends of
lot
both
like
sides
Master
get
Duel,
cut off? I would like to know
where people just run like they're going to go first every time.
Bring someone else on, interview maybe some top players or just another content creator or something about it and see what they.
It's like they might. I think in Master Duel, what I usually see is people just building like they're going to be going first every single time, but also occasionally they'll have, they'll have like Fua or they'll have like a Harpy's Feather Duster, a singleton Harpy Feather Duster, just to remove like stuff in the back row. But I think the singleton Harpy Feather Duster is more a symptom of the fact that Master Duel, it has a meta, but unlike a tournament where you're only expecting to run into Rogue for a certain period of time through a tournament, and like once you get to the higher tables, you're not really expecting it anymore, and like unless you're like going up against Distant Coder. Unlike that, in Master Duel, you can really end up against random bullshit at any point in time. And a lot of that random bullshit can just be the fucking Eldritch set 5 back row pass. So a lot of people will just run, random back row removal just to have it for that kind of thing. But yeah, as far as like, I don't think I've really seen many other changes besides the running the Mole Charmies in main and the fucking like getting a little bit of spell trap removal in the deck. And even then, I don't see the spell trap removal that often anymore, mainly because I don't play Master Duel at all. So I'm not seeing what people are playing. But also, when I do see it like through other people's streams and stuff, I think the Eldritch Step 5 pass has just gone so far away from what is playable that nobody's playing it anymore. So it's just become less common.
See if they maybe agree, disagree, consider some of my blind points here. Yeah. Okay, well, that's it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the discussion and maybe got you thinking. I will probably be back with more discussions like this soon. So thumbs up if you liked it, subs if you loved it. Check out our weekly podcast here on this channel, The Pot of Greed. Alec and I talk about card game news and other anime, movie, gaming, all sorts of things. Yeah, okay, cool. I'll see you guys.
Okay, that's the end of the video. There's some blind second cards, like in Malice Dracotail Meadow. Remember a lot of people playing Red Reboot. That's true. Red Reboot's just a fucking powerful card, though. I can't believe that shit's legal in Master Duel. And yeah, they have gotten rid of a lot of the stun tools, so it makes it less common for you to run into that kind of thing. So that would be another reason why it's reduced in popularity. Yeah, I don't know. It's I don't think like we've had Master Duel for such a long time now. It has been a real test of formats where there is no siding. And hell, even with the Master Duel tournaments, you're switching entire decks now, which I think is awesome. By the way, I think switching entire decks is actually a really fucking cool mechanic for a tournament to have. Thank you for the raid, Hero Girls. We're talking about removing the side deck from Yu-Gi-Oh. I think we've seen from Master Duel though that the deck building doesn't actually change all that much without the side deck. It is like a couple of things here and there, but generally the decks stay the same. So I don't think it would actually change all that much, except for removing some of the toxic crap that hides in the side decks. How's life going? It's going all right. I've got an ingrown toenail. It's rough. It is. That shit sucks. Never have that if you can avoid it. It's causing me a lot of pain. I don't know. I think removing side deck is not that crazy. I think it's it's just become a place where you put a bunch of bullshit cards that turn the games into non-games. Had to get surgery for that in college. I might have to get surgery as well. We'll see. We'll see. I've got a kit for it. Hopefully that can help. Yeah, I don't know. This is just 90-10 matchups that wreck your day. I mean, does the side deck actually help with that though? Because it feels like in the current state, the side deck kind of just allows you to, because it allows your opponent in the 90-10 to also side in stuff that just destroys you, right? It doesn't Magic? Well, I don't play Magic, so. I do think these comments are like way too 15 years ago. Maybe even a decade ago. Like a decade ago. It's been 10 years. Like I hate the way people talk about old Yu-Gi-Oh! It's been gone so long. I don't like the way people talk about it. Like, there's arguments like this. It'll just make the best decks even stronger. Without side decks, you cannot bring in counters to popular strategies. But those popular strategies bring in counters to your deck as well, right? Most rogue decks have something similar enough. Most rogue decks that are worth playing and that could actually win against a deck, a meta deck, have something that is in common with another meta deck that can be countered by a side deck. Like, Dimensional Barrier back when that was still legal, right? There's still lots of cards that work like that. The sad part about talking about old Yu-Gi-Oh! Is I hate acknowledging 2015 was over 10 years ago, right? Like, it's crazy. We're almost 10 years away from 2018 format. Isn't that fucking insane? From like fucking Firewall dog shit. We're almost 10 years away from Firewall. Magic the Gathering has a sideboard. Pokemon does not. Most of the Bushiroad decks or games don't. I don't think I don't think the Bandai ones do either. I think it might just be Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic the Gathering that have them. Buddy Fight's the only one that has sideboards. For Bushi. That's why they're printing BLCD for the Firewall anniversary. True. It's not a particularly common thing in card games to have side decks. It's interesting. An interesting like discussion to have. I think the APS audience is like the last audience I would like to have the discussion with, right? Paul has created an audience, and like good on him that he has an audience that he can, rely on for an income. But the audience that he has created is just not one I'd particularly like to discuss Yu-Gi-Oh! With in general. They're just, they're of a certain era. Yugi boomers, we'll call them. Oh, this is a really good video, by the way. If you haven't watched this video that Dan, if you're interested in making videos on YouTube, you should really watch this video from Evola where they interviewed Dan Olson. There's a car horn. Oh, here's a Farfa. Is this a Farfa video essay? Let's go. Oh, fuck. We're back. We're so back.
Going second in Yu-Gi-Oh! Perhaps one of the biggest pain points that people levy towards this game when it comes to criticisms of any.
It is weird how Paul's YouTube presence leans on a negative a little bit too much when he's clear. Yeah, it's weird, right? Paul's YouTube presence has like, especially Amplifier is like a lot of. Well, I think Amplifier is a series where he talks about things in a not necessarily a negative way, but more of like a let's have a discussion kind of way. But he always frames it in the thumbnail and the title in a negative way because that's what his audience wants. Because that's what his audience of little Yugi Boomer freaks are all in on. So it's like he's got an audience that is totally different from him, which is interesting.
Trading card game. Yu-Gi-Oh! Just takes far too long to wait for your opponent to do something, and even if you do manage to get through your...
This is probably the Master Duel event.
You have to actually break their board, and for the most part, it's just...
So, just like I was saying, like I wanted to see some videos about the the Master Duel
now,
event.
I understand that this is a bit of a rehash topic. We've done this multiple different times on the channel, and plenty of other people have...
We've done this multiple times, so please subscribe.
...given their suggestions and thoughts and prayers for how you can actually alleviate this situation. Today, I'm going to be looking at...
Oh, looks like there's an ad break. We're going to really quickly take an ad break, and then we'll finish this Farfa video. See you in a second.
Imagine yourself on a dream vacation, sipping Mai Tais, basking in the warm Hawaiian sun, swimming in the tropical ocean, surfing at Waikiki. Your vacation is about to end. Something is coming up from the depths. A monster that rips and tears, hungry for flesh, a ravenous creature human eyes have never seen before. And it's coming up from the depths. Rated R under 17, not admitted without parents.
And we're back. Let's finish this Farfa video.
This from two different angles. We'll be looking at this from the perspective of card design, looking at the actual baseline text of the cards that they keep printing, and looking at ways to actually
Maybe this
help
isn't
that
about the
going
new Master
second.
Duel
And
event.
perhaps my favorite part of this, I think, is going to be looking at perhaps some rule changes.
Maybe that section will have a little bit about it,
between
at
this
least.
game and other card games, and how Yu-Gi-Oh can maybe tie into that, or even come up with some new, interesting, and innovative ways to help going second. If this sounds like your kind of video, then of course stick around and stay tuned. We'll be dissecting this topic in complete depth, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see
second plug
more
for
video
subscribing.
essays, discussions on this type of topic.
Keep
And
it-
if you
keep-
have any
keep count,
suggestions
folks.
yourself, or
That's
want to
two.
chime in the discussion, then of course leave a comment down below, and I'd love to be able to process them perhaps for a follow-up in the future.
We're really using that sound effect.
This one is pretty simple. I've talked about all sorts of cards that I really love over the course of the last however many years, actually, that we've been doing things like this. And some ones that really come to my mind is I don't actually like the way how hand traps play. I think it's very binary in their approach. It's either just throw all of them at your opponent and hope that they eventually stop, or you're kind of trying to wait for these like niche choke points and praying that there isn't something that you've missed in the flowchart diagram. So I'm not going to rattle on about how much I love
I think hand trap design can be good. It's just like a lot of the ones we have are just discard, negate one effect, right? And I think that's really boring design. I think that's really boring card design. But if you look at some of the hand traps that do exist, especially some of the new ones that have been coming out recently, and I'm not talking about the Fuwas or the Mulcharmies. I don't think the Mulcharmies are particularly interesting to me. But if you look at stuff like Fedralis, or just the in-archetype turn 0 plays, I think there's a lot more interesting stuff coming out as far as what is something you're able to do turn 0 to interact with your opponent while they make their first turn. Fedralis Harmonia, right? Yeah, I like it. I think it's a cool card. I wish it wasn't a secret. But because it's a secret, now it's going to be, $5 million.
But if you haven't heard me talk about this before, it's very simple. It's a very basic, simple card that pretty much any archetype in the game would love. It just searches a guy. More consistency for your turn 1 and opening play. Now, the incredible thing about Ketu, of course, is going second. You are optionally allowed to perform a fusion summon if your opponent controls a monster. But naturally,
He fucking loves
that's just not
Ketu.
really going
Ketu's
to
a
be
cool
live turn
card.
1, mostly, but generally it's
He's
seen
right.
as
He's
a go
correct to
second
love
assist.
Ketu.
But more cards like this, I think, would significantly help the game. Everyone loves making fun of my boy, but Typhon Common L, listen, I get it. It's not that great. It's probably undertuned.
I think Typhon sucks. I think if Typhon was if it didn't have the floodgate, if it had a more interesting effect instead of the floodgate, I think Typhon would be a really cool card. Like a more interesting effect that made it better as a card. I think that would be awesome.
By a lot, to be honest with you. In some formats it's been kind of decent, like Pure Ryziel, for example, but I think more cards like this would go a long way in assisting the game. I think the summoning condition of Typhon perhaps is a little too lax. So let me give you a couple ideas. What if you're...
I think if it didn't lock, you'd be very boring. Oh, I mean the like... I think the lock would be is fine. I'm talking about the other flood, like the little like 3,000 attack monsters can't fucking do whatever. That floodgate effect. Yeah.
fusion-based archetype
Can't activate their effects or something, I think is what the specific text is.
That you could summon just by
I
simply
think that's
removing the materials
stupid.
from your graveyard or potentially even your hand. Getting rid of dead cards out of your hand.
It's like, oh, it feels like a powerful effect, but it just doesn't come up as particularly often. And when it does, it's like, because like it's a 3,000 attack monsters and above can't activate their effects, but obviously they can attack into Typhon and kill it.
Everyone, put your
Cookie
hands together and
Dough
mark us with a special
VT.
sign.
There we go. Cookie Dough VT. I get it now. Thank you for the raid. Welcome everyone. I hope you're having a good time. Had a good stream. We're watching Farfa talk about going second. Hope you're having a good day. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! If you don't know, already know.
Or cards that you've already used in your graveyard, like hand traps, for example.
But yeah, I think the Typhon effect is a trap. It's a trick to make you think it's a good effect. The floodgate effect, I mean. But it's just like they added this effect to make it a quote unquote good card, but it's not a particularly good effect. In actuality, it's annoying to have a floodgate in the deck, and on top of all that, it prevents them from putting a better effect on there because they think, oh, we have a powerful floodgate effect instead, right?
To just summon a free guy out the extra deck. Now, of course, that sounds absolutely ludicrous and broken, especially when you consider it as a literal chimera tech for free. But again, the idea is that what if we put these very specific summoning conditions on them? Your opponent must control 2 monsters summoned from the extra deck, as an example. Your opponent must occupy 4 or 5 zones or something. So essentially, you just
Losu's
slap
such a funny
big guy
card.
down onto the field who maybe does something on summon, like target a card and book.
I gotta be real though, I kind of hate the design of kaijus. This is gonna sound insane for me. It's not insane, but like, work with me on this. I hate that you can't interact with a kaiju. I hate towers too, though. So like, to get rid of kaijus, you would have to get rid of towers, but I don't think that's a big loss. This is why my format that I made gets rid of towers, floodgates, and negates. That way you cannot have the kaiju style effects in the game.
Of moon it or target a back row,
But also because
destroy it.
towers are
Some
fucking
sort
miserable.
Of like generic fusion like this that would work in.
It's just like, the way it's like the towers are balanced by kaiju effects, right? But that means you have to get access to the kaiju effect. And that just feels bad that there's only one out and it's getting the kaiju effect on board.
Some sort of fusion-based strategy. I love Zeus. I think Zeus was a pivotal and very iconic
Like there's
card
outs to
throughout
Mystic
its
Mind.
making
It's just spell trap removal, right? But like nobody wants to draw the spell trap removal
The problem is we
to
haven't
out
really
Mystic
had,
Mind.
like really powerful XE summoning strategies in recent years. Ryzeal, of course, is the most popular one, but that locks itself into 4.
Do you think Ryzeal Detonator and Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder explore each other's bodies? Discuss.
Just by breathing. So Zeus is a great card, it's just, you know, we haven't really had Xyz being that popular, but what if we had one for each mechanic? Let me give you another suggestion. Imagine a synchro-based strategy, like let's say for example Punk, that could use tuners from the hand in the same summoning condition style that I mentioned with the fusion monster, hypothetically. Your opponent controls 2 extra deck monsters, you can just synchro summon this boss monster by using a tuner in your hand. Or even you can synchro summon this monster without requiring any tuners if your opponent has done X number of things last turn, like perform 5 card effects. More boss monsters and summoning conditions like this, I think, could be really cool for going second.
Detonator Zeus Yowie Real.
Too much of a load-bearing force in a game. Like essentially, your entire duel is just going to revolve around summoning these different cards and this win condition of going into Zeus 2, right? And so I don't really want games to be too homogenized, but I'm really curious what people think about this as a suggestion.
Well, that's why I like the design of Phydralis, is that Phydralis, instead of locking you, like being like your opponent has to have blank on the field for you to do this, it is like you have to be on this specific strategy, or, you know, I guess have so few extra deck like requirements for your deck that you can afford to have this many synchro monsters in your deck. It's not necessarily a perfect example of that, but I think it's in the right direction.
On first reading this, you might think to yourself, well, normal summon per phase, that's already the case. You get 1 normal summon. However, it's per turn. That's the difference here. We're talking about per phase. And of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has multiple different phases. You might be thinking to yourself,
this is actually kind of interesting. An extra normal summon in the main phase too. That is interesting.
What does that really change? Well, of course, going first,
that changes a
Duel
lot.
Links game, right? There's no main phase 2. See, now it's starting to click and make a little bit more sense. This was brought up by one of my subscribers a long time ago, and anytime this topic comes up on the discussion of going second in Yu-Gi-Oh!, I always reflect on this change. It's so simple, and yet so critical at the same time. One normal summon per phase means that the going first player is going to retain the singular, regular, normal summon that you always have in Yu-Gi-Oh, right? But going second, of course, there is a main phase 2 after using your battle phase as a resource to try and deal with your opponent's board. But then on top of that, when you're...
And then you build your board, and your opponent has main phase 2 to help destroy your board. That's kind of interesting. But like, I would really need to see testing to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand and just make going second like we want going second to be better, but we don't want going second to be better than going first. I feel like we want it to be about equivalent, right?
Go in second, you get another normal summon. Now, one thing that I am worried about with this potential change is that it indirectly actually buffs going first, right? Because if you could stave off your opponent's turn 2, then
then you can normal summon a second time. That's another problem I was thinking as well.
Another normal summon on the turn 3 clapback might actually be super
Free the birds. Free the birds. Free the fucking... Where's the next wave of Fluanderi's support? Where is it, Konami?
Part of your board might be broken down. Your opponent has tried to deal with most of your setup, and then on the follow-up, you just have multiple normal summons to be able to take advantage of the fact that they have fought for your board.
Turn 0 Robina when? Please!
So I think for the most...
Just give me a card that normal summons Robina from the deck. That's a turn 0. That's what I want.
This part is probably going to assist the second player more, but there is potentially the chance for some game states to end up in a situation where an extra normal summon might actually low-key end up benefiting player 1, which is not the intention at all for this video. Player 1 has way too much fun already.
Okay, now we're going to get into the draw 6.
A while ago, Paulo Goncalves brought this up as a potential suggestion, as a rule change for the game. Player 2 draws 6 cards per turn. And what this means isn't...
And now they're testing it. They're actually testing this exact idea.
Just the regular way that it occurs
in
right
a duel
now,
trial.
Where you start with 5 and draw to 6, but rather you start with your 6 cards in your opening hand already. However, there is the caveat...
This video came out yesterday, so he maybe didn't know that it was happening yet.
I suppose we'll say the caveat here is that you do not draw for a turn. Yeah, so you begin with your 6 cards in your hand and you don't draw for a turn. And you might be wondering to yourself, well, economically, that's kind of the same, right? There's no real...
They won't release flu support. It's just crazy since they fixed the flu problem. I mean, yeah, like it turns out flu is not actually that crazy a deck when you get rid of like barrier statue and shit like that. What does it do now? It makes M-Pen. It can make Avian too. It's like Omni Negate. It's one Omni Negate. I think you do. I don't know for sure because I don't play Master Duel. But I think you do draw for turn with 6 cards in the duel trial.
Change there. The big difference here is that this gives you 1 extra card, meaning that you have a higher...
Which honestly, I don't think would be a big deal getting the extra draw as well. I think that's actually fine.
Gone second and drawn like a Nibiru for turn or an Effect Veiler. Some hand traps are not too bad to actually draw for turn, and Master Duel drawing Maxi off the top is sometimes can actually be very helpful. There's just so much special summoning even on opponent's turns now that it can actually just help you get more cards as you try and crack that board. Duel Loss sometimes also kind of helps out in situations like this, and drawing an imperfect...
I love when he uses unrelated footage to illustrate his point. What is this? This footage doesn't have Max C in it. What do you... He didn't draw a card on that summon.
As well, notoriously can be really good for cracking away things.
I guess they did summon on his turn,
just
though. So that's close enough.
Drawn it for turn. But in the context of what we're talking about here, of course, the idea is that you just have a higher chance of, seeing these defensive cards to actually help you going second. And of course, the biggest flaw and problem with this potentially is hand loops.
Well, I think Blue Eyes is actually going to become a problem once we get the overframe cards. Once we get the overframe cards, it is going to become a problem again.
Become significantly more powerful. Cards like Triple Tactics.
Yeah, that's it. It's just that the opponent summoned on Farfa's turn. He didn't do the I don't know. Maybe he just didn't have footage of him doing the Max C on his own turn to draw from the opponent's. You just didn't have footage of that.
Being used multiple times in turn. These are very niche strategies that
It happens.
aren't
Sometimes
really
you just don't have
that
footage.
common, but occasionally you'll find a meta deck can put up a level 8 synchro turn 1 or make a Trishula. Another major flaw now is, specifically with TOON, this whole idea of looking at your opponent's hand has kind of uncomfortably so become a little too commonplace, at least for my.
Yeah, can we stop printing cards that let you look at the opponent's hand? There's like 5 of them in like the past couple sets. Stop doing this. I don't think hand knowledge is an interesting effect for cards to have.
My liking. I'm not going to sit here and complain about Marine Cess cards, but once upon a time when Aqua Angel, I think that's what her name is, was released, I scratched my head at that and thought, you know, it's just in a free extender, but it also looks at your opponent's hand. Well, they really dialed that one up to 11 with TOON. So full perfect hand
I hate TOON. I hate TOON. I hate TOON.
knowledge means that you basically sorry, I don't like wasps.
That's in the video. Vlad, put that in the video. It is the funniest part of the video. I can't deny that. I think that's the most compelling argument he's made.
What was I talking about? Oh yeah, hand loops bad. So when you aren't drawing for a turn, your opponent doesn't have to worry about any unknown variables. There is always perfect knowledge when you are starting with 6 in hand. In my opinion, we should just not make cards like that. I think full hand knowledge is
Yeah, I agree. It's fucking stop.
a kind of ridiculous concept in general. I don't really like how that TOON card works.
Plus, because you're legally not allowed to take notes of what's in your opponent's hand in a tournament setting, it increases or what's the word I'm looking for? It benefits people with better memory. So it literally gives an advantage to people who have better memory, so that can memorize their opponent's hand and then play around that.
I think it's very overpowered in the context.
Not the Moe
of
AI
Yu-Gi-Oh!
MD
with
Pro
knowing when to
footage.
use your disruptions
I know
perfectly.
nothing
I
about
think
this
that
person
unknown
or any
variable
drama
is a
surrounding
key
them.
aspect of any card game, really.
I think Farfa just looked for random footage of TOON gameplay.
Mulligans have been a big suggestion in Yu-Gi-Oh! For years, literal years at this point, and they are usually caveated with very strict restrictions, like
Yeah, I don't know about
you
mulligans
you
in
can't,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Like, full mulligan, you can only put like X number of cards back, or you have to retain a certain amount. What if it was only applicable to player 2? Going second, you would get some
Going second FTK so you can get the mulligan.
type of mulligan, because of course there's different types of mulligans where you either put everything back or you get to keep certain cards, like I think the system is in Hearthstone, for example. Compare that to Magic, where you have to put your whole hand back and draw a new hand, -1 card. Whatever the details you want to use here, perhaps going second could maybe benefit from something like that. But I'm wondering what you think about that. Of course, one of the biggest flaws with this is it might actually just be
Granted, most
good,
FTKs are very
depending on the
fragile,
mulligan
so
style,
yeah,
just
a negate
fully
would stop it.
crafting a perfect go second
Letting the
hand,
opponent
like
set up a board
one
is
normal
kind of
breaker,
devastating to a lot of
extender,
FTK
etc.
strategies.
Could just be really, really ridiculous, because you've seen just how powerful breakers have become in recent years in Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, those are most of my suggestions. If you have any ideas or want to contribute, again, please comment down below. Thank you so much.
What I love about Farfa videos is that they don't have any flow to them. They just kind of ramble. I think that's my favorite part about Farfa videos, is that Farfa's video essays, I should say, is that they have no flow to them whatsoever. It just kind of stops eventually. He just says things until he's done saying things, and that's it. Keep making them. They're fun to react to, honestly. Oh, Boise. Alrighty. I think that's going to be it for me, though. I think I'm done. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Wah. Okay. Who am I sending you to? Also, before you go, check out that exclamation point socials. Bam. You can follow all of my stuff there at thempire.neocities.org, thempirein.neocities.org. My website, apparently Patreon has like a social media feed now, so if you want to follow me on Patreon, I don't know. I'm just there. But I would appreciate more support on Patreon if you can afford to. Or if you want to just do the free, that's fine too. All right. Who am I sending you to? Let's find out. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba ba da ba ba ba. Hey, let's go with hard leg. Let's rage on over to hard leg. There is a new video on the Patreon. If you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, or you like Mechagodzilla, or the movie Terror of Mechagodzilla, you should check out the Patreon because there's a new video up there just for you. All right, let's get. I'm going to send you all over to Hard Leg Joe. If you didn't know, I think he's not currently at the chair. It looks like, yeah, he's having people watch Tally Hall music videos. But you know, he'll get there when he gets there. You'll be in good company in the meanwhile. Thanks for joining me for today. I hope you had a good time. Yeah, I make Godzilla video essays if you didn't know. Check out the YouTube channel. I've got some up there as well. Yeah. I'm going to send you over to Hard Leg now, and you're going to have a great time. All right. When you get over there, be kind and courteous. I'll ask you, with that said, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.